This is the less powerful version of the G14 than the one we reviewed, but all the better off for it. The CPU remains the same powerful octa-core AMD number, but the GPU and RAM have come down to a more modest spec, which makes the impressive G14 an affordable yet still powerful gaming machine. The new version of the Zephyrus G14 for 2022 impresses us once again with its well-balanced spec and excellent gaming performance. Seriously, this thing shreds through frames up to its 120Hz refresh rate, and it's great for much more than gaming, too. We checked out the version with AMD's RX 6800S under the hood, though there is an option for an RX 6700S, for a chunk less cash. Arguably, that cheaper option sounds a bit better to us, as the high-end one can get a little pricey and close in on the expensive but excellent Razer Blade 14. It's not helped much by its 32GB of DDR5 4800 RAM in that regard, though we do love having all that speedy memory raring to go for whatever you can throw at it. At its heart is the AMD Ryzen 6900HS. That's one of the top chips from AMD's Ryzen 6000 series, but not its best and brightest, though you're really fighting over boost clocks and not much else when it comes to the tippy top of the Red Team's mobile processors anyways. It delivers 8 cores and 16 threads of the Zen 3 Plus architecture, capable of boosting to 4.9 GHz, which it actually does on occasion, so that's more than acceptable by me. That GPU and CPU combo makes quick work of our benchmarking suite, however, and I have to say I'm heartily impressed with the G14's gaming performance overall. That's even without turning to the more aggressive turbo preset. I tested everything with the standard performance mode. It's able to top the frame rate of RTX 3080 and RTX 3070 mobile chips pretty much across the board, and while it does slip below the RTX 3080 Ti in the Razer Blade 17, that's a much larger laptop with a much larger price tag. One of my favorite things about the G14 is in the name, it's a 14-inch laptop. The blend of screen real estate and compact size is a great in-between of bulkier 15 and 17-inch designs, and not quite as compromised as a 13-inch model can feel. But the big thing with the 2022 model is that the 14-inch size has been fitted out with a larger 16:10 aspect ratio than previous models' 16:9 panels. When it's running smoothly, the G14's high refresh and high-resolution panel also looks fantastic. Being such a bright and colorful IPS display on this model, you really get to soak in every detail. One of the downsides with this machine is the battery life, which really isn't the best while gaming, less than an hour while actually playing. You'll get more when playing videos or doing something boring like working, but we do expect a bit more from a modern laptop. It's not a deal breaker, but definitely something you'll want to bear in mind. The G14 has lost that quality of being surprisingly cheap for what you get, too, even if you do get stellar performance out of it. Perhaps one reason for that is the inclusion of 32GB of DDR5 RAM, 16GB of that is soldered to the board, and the other 16GB attached via removable SO-DIMM from the underside of the laptop. That's not cheap memory. DDR5 prices have hardly settled down since the memory standard was introduced last year, and 32GB is a bounty of high-performance memory by comparison to most gaming PCs today. Overall, though, the G14 experience is a pretty easy and straightforward one. I didn't run into any major issues with it over the couple of weeks I've had it, and for the few negatives I have with the design, Asus has offset them with heaps of positives. The cheaper models may be a better bet than the one we reviewed, however. The same chassis and great design but with a slightly more amicable price tag,